So in today's workshop, we shall look at shapes. So when you're going to insert the shapes into your presentation file, you have to first of all specify the slide where you want the shape to be inserted. So in this example or in this workshop, we shall start by inserting a new slide. So I'll work with this slide known as the title only slide. Now here we have the title only slide. So since we are dealing with shapes, I'm going to give the title as shapes, and after I just click inside my slide and we have the title displayed as we can see. Now to insert shapes into any slide or into any presentation file like this PowerPoint, we have a number of ways we can do that. The first one, we can use this home tab, and while we are on the home tab, we shall move our pointer up to this drawing group. From the drawing group, we have this area where we see some shapes. So if you want to insert any shape, you can just click on the shape and then insert it on the slide. So before we can do that, let's have a view of all the shapes that can be inserted into our slide. So to view all, we click on this more arrow here. So when you click on the more arrow, then you will have this menu displaying all the types of the shapes that you can decide to insert into your slide. So that is the first way you can insert the shapes into the slide. Assuming this is the shape you want to insert into your slide, then what you will do is to click on that shape to select it. Now, once the shape is selected, you can now see our pointer has changed into that plus symbol. So this plus symbol gives us the opportunity to go ahead and draw that selected shape. So to draw the selected shape, you click, hold down the mouse piece, and then try to move the mouse piece to draw that shape that you have selected. If you feel this is the size of the shape you want, then you release the mouse piece. So when you release the mouse piece, you will have that shape drawn as we can see from our screen. So that is the first way we can insert the shapes into the slide. The second way is to go to this insert tab, which most people use. So while you are on the insert tab, you work with the illustrations group. From this illustrations group, you click on this button for shapes. So when you click on that button for shapes, then you will still have a view of the same menu that we saw while we were on this home tab. So on the menu, we can see the recently used shapes. These are the shapes that you have been using previously. That is, if you have been working with some shapes previously, then those shapes are always displayed under this recently used shapes option. Then the types of shapes that you can decide to insert into the slide include the lines, include the rectangles, include the basic shapes. We also have the block arrows, we have the equation shapes, we have the flow charts, the stars and banners, callouts, and we also have the action buttons. So these are the different shapes you can decide to insert. Now, another important thing we have to note with these different shapes that we have seen is that each shape that you see under each category or type, every shape we see has got a name. So when I come and point at this, you will see that the name is displayed. When you go to basics, you can point and see that the name is there. So every shape that you see has got a name. So assuming you want to insert a rectangle, then you'll go under rectangles and then select that very category you want under these rectangles. Assuming you want the rounded rectangles, then you click on it. When you click, you see our pointer now changing again to the plus symbol. Just like I said, the plus symbol helps us now to go ahead and draw that selected shape. You just click, hold, and then move to draw the shape. When you have the shape drawn, you can decide to adjust on the size of the shape using these points that we see. So you can decide to enlarge it from that part. You can even use the same part to reduce. You can as well try to rotate this shape using that very button that we see. So if you want to rotate this shape to be like that, then you can still do the same using this point that we see on the screen. So that is the shape insertion in our slide. So that is the second way to insert shapes into the slides that we have in our presentation. Now, another important thing is that whenever a shape is inserted into the slide, that shape will always come with this format tab. So this format tab helps you to go ahead and work with the shape or shapes that you have inserted into the slide. And again, this format tab is displayed only when that shape is selected. I'm going to click outside the shape so you can see that when the shape is not selected, then from the tab area there is no format tab. But when you select this shape, then you see that the format tab is displayed. To enable you go ahead and do a lot of other tasks from this shape. So that is with the shapes. Then the third way to insert the shape into your presentation file or into your slide is by using this very format tab. Now from this format tab, you'll move your pointer and go to the insert shapes group. From the insert shapes group, we have the shapes as we can see from here. The very shapes that we saw while we were on the home tab, while we are on the insert tab. So you can just come and select that shape that you may want. So assuming this time you want to insert this type of shape, then you will just go to that shape and select by clicking. After clicking, you go into your slide and draw it, and there you have the shape. So those are the three different ways. Now to delete any shape, you select the shape and press on the backspace key, and that shape will be deleted. Then you can now move the shapes the way you want. Click, hold, and then move the shape to that position where you want it to be. Then another thing, we are done with inserting or drawing the shapes into the slides. Now let's look at how we can go ahead and try to change this shape without deleting it. What I mean is that we want to change this shape and put there another shape. For instance, we want to be uniform now, that instead of having this diamond shape, we want to have the oval. So without deleting this shape, you click to select that shape. After selecting, still from this format tab, you will move your mouse piece to the insert shapes group. From the insert shapes group, you have this option where we see edit shape. You click on it. Now when you click, we can see this option of changing shape. Change shape. Which shape do you want to change? I would like to change this selected shape, and instead of diamond, we want it to be oval. So you go to oval and click. So when you click on oval, you can see that now the shape has been changed. If you want to change to another one, select it first of all, then go to edit shape, go to change shape, and maybe you want it to be in this form. Let's try to work with the flow chart. So you want it in this form, click, then that is the shape that will be displayed onto your slide. So that's how you can change the shape without deleting it. So we want our oval. Let me take back to oval. There we are. Then now you can try to adjust, you can try to move it to any point that you want within your slide. Then now let's look at other things that we can do while we are working with the shapes. While working with the shapes, we can decide to change the shape styles. So the shape styles can be changed, that is only when the shape is selected. So after selecting a shape like this, then you will move your pointer to the shape styles group, still under the format tab. So here we have the different shape styles. So I'll click on this small arrow to display the different shape styles. So here we have the different shape styles. You can see that as I move my pointer to the different shape styles, we see the live preview on the shape which is in the slide. So from here you can decide and say, oh, this is the style I want, or this is the style I want. Then you just click. So you have changed the shape style. To this one you will also select and then go ahead and say, I want it to have this style, and there the style will be displayed on that selected shape. So besides these styles, we also have other options that we can do. The first one we want to look at is to arrange these shapes. So I will try to combine these shapes. I will move this one to that point. So when you move a shape onto another, you can see that this shape is not fully visible, but we can decide to say this shape should be displayed in front of this one. So to do that, what we do is select the shape, any of the two, then go to this arrange group. From the arrange group, when you look at this shape, the reason as to why this one is not fully visible is that this shape here is in front or to the front of this shape over in black. So we shall say the selected one should go to the back. So when you click send to back, you see that this oval is now fully visible. But again, this one is not visible. So you can say send to front and it will come back. Likewise, you can say send to front, send to back, just like that. And you'll have those shapes visible the way we have seen from that part. Then one more important thing that I would like also to share with you is the text. You have got the shapes inserted into the slide. You want to go ahead and insert the text into these shapes. So how can we do that? So let me first of all try to enlarge this shape and also enlarge this shape. So we want now to insert text. There are two ways we can insert text into the shapes that we have in our slide. First one is to work with what we call the text box. So the text box can be found still from the Format tab. Then you'll work with the Insert Shapes group. Here is the text box. So you click text box. Now while we are with the text box, it doesn't matter whether you go to the selected shape or not. Because with the text box, you're going now to draw the text box, and of which this text box will help you to insert the text. So I will draw my text box in this shape. So how do I draw it? You click, hold, and then move the mouse pointer. After you release, and you'll have the text box drawn. So from here, you can now give your shape a name. We can call it oval 2. Then we want also to insert text into this shape. To make it visible, let's click and then first of all try to change this shape style, and we give it that. So the second style way to insert the text into the shape is to right click after selecting the shape. After you've right clicked, then you will move your pointer to this edit text. You click. So when you click on that edit text, you will see that there is an insertion pointer blinking. So this insertion pointer now helps you to go ahead and insert the text. So we can now type oval 1. When you're done, click anywhere within the shape and you'll have the name of the text inserted into that very shape. So that is with the text box and the right click option to enable you insert the text into the shape that you have in your slide. Now, besides that, we also have other options of accessing these text boxes that can be obtained from the Home tab, and then you'll still work with the Drawing group. So while you're on the Home tab, you may not need to go to the Format tab to access this text box. So you just come, click, and then go to the shape and click, hold, then move the mouse piece to draw the text box. After that, release the mouse piece and then give the text you want as over 1. So if you don't want this, you click on that area and try to delete that text. If you want this text box to come in this point, first of all, click where you see the text, then select the text box, click, hold and move. After specifying the position you want, release the mouse piece and you'll have the text box inserted in that very point. So that is with the text box or inserting of text into the shapes that you have in your slide. Let's go back to the Format tab. From the Format tab, we have one more challenge. Here we have our shapes. Maybe you want to draw a Venn diagram and you want to have this oval 1 fully visible and also this oval 2 fully visible. In that, you're in a position to insert some text or see this intersection. But we have seen that we can only send to the front and to the back. How about if I want to insert some content in the intersection part? How do we do that? So to do that, we select a given shape, just like what we see here. So after selecting, we have to ensure that this color that we see on this oval 2 is removed. And also we have to see that this color which we see on oval 1 is also removed. How do we remove? So we have oval 1 selected. Go to the Format tab. From the Format tab, we shall remove this color by working with this option we see as Shape Fill. Click. So when you click on that Shape Fill option, you will move your pointer up to where we see No Fill. We click. But still, we are not seeing this oval 1 fully visible. So that means that we also have to remove this fill color. It is this fill color in oval 2 that is stopping the shape or this oval 1 to be fully visible. So we just go to oval 2, click on it, then we shall still go back to Format tab and then go back to Shape Fill, and we shall again move back to No Fill. Click. So when you click, we can now see oval 2 visibility is clear and also oval 1 is also fully visible. That is after you have removed the fill colors from these two shapes. Let's avoid one thing. I'm going to insert fill color in this oval 2. So to insert the fill color in this oval 2, we shall go to Shape Fill again. Click. Then let's give it that color. So you see, when the color is there, this one is not fully visible. Now what happens if you use this option of fill color and instead of saying no fill, to remove this fill color, and you say this option, you click on it, you can see that still the oval 1 shape is not fully visible. The reason is that selection we made, this one, is just to give this selected shape a white background. So if it is a white background, this implies that this shape has got a color. So that's why this one will not be visible. So don't use this option for white background. White background doesn't mean that you have removed the fill color. Remove the fill color using this option for no fill, and you will have the two shapes fully visible. Now, if you want to go ahead and insert text, we have seen the ways we can do that. I prefer using text box, so I will click on the text box, come to that area, draw the text box. Then after drawing the text box, then go ahead and insert that text you want. After inserting, click anywhere within the shape, and you'll have the text inserted there. So that is how you can deal with the shape fill to remove the fill colors from the shapes that you have in your slide. The option of arranging the shapes can also be found here while you are on the Home tab. The option of the fill color can also be obtained from the Home tab. For instance, if you want to give this shape a fill color, then you will come and select the fill color, and the color will be applied. If you want to remove, you still work with the Home tab and go to the drawing group, then say I don't want the fill, and it will still do the same thing. So instead of going to the format, you can also work with the Home tab. Then another thing, we have got what we call the shape outline. So with the shape outline, we can decide to change this color that we see, that is defining this oval too. We can say no, we want a different shape outline, we want it red. You give it that red. You say no, instead of this color, we want another color. You go to shape outline, then you say I want it to be green. You click on it. Then I will just encourage you to still see what is under shape outline. If I say weight, if it is weight, what happens to the selected shape? So that means you can try to even change the weight of the selected shape, as we have seen from there. Then we also have these other options of word art styles. You can try to work with these word art styles. There is one important thing that we are still left with. So that is moving or combining these shapes, and then after combining them, we can move them as one single object. So how do we do that? So to combine or to group these shapes and then we move them as a single object, we select the different shapes that we have in our slide. So you click to select. After clicking, to select the second shape, you have to press on the Control key. So now I'm pressing on the Control key. After you press the Control key, move this mouse pointer to the next shape, which is oval 2. So to select, you move to the points. Now, as I move, you will see the change. So our pointer changes with a small rectangle below and a plus symbol on the top right. So this is an indication that now you can add a selection. So you click. Immediately you see that symbol. Don't release the mouse button. We have got these text boxes in our shapes. These text boxes are also considered as shapes. If we don't add them to the grouping, then when we group these two shapes, then these ones, as we try to move our shapes to a different position, they will remain there. So to avoid that, move. When you see that shape, click. Still while you are pressing on the control key. Do not release the control key until the selection is done. So we go to the next text box, click when you see that shape, move to the next, click when you see that shape. After, I'm now sure we have made all the selections. Release the control key. Don't click anywhere until you group the shapes that you have selected. So to group, we have got two ways. The simplest one is to move your mouse pointer and work with this Format tab. From the Format tab, you'll move this pointer to the Arrange Group and you select this option for Group. Click. When you click, you will have this option for Group. Click so that you join the selected objects and they appear as one object. Now I've clicked and here we have this rectangle drawn, signifying that all the items here are now one object. Now we can try to move. I'll click, hold and then try to move. When I release, we can see that now they can all move together as one single object. If you want to take back, click, hold and move, then release to put them in the position you want. So that's how you can group the items and they appear as one object, or group the shapes that you have in the slide and they appear as one object. If I don't want these shapes to be grouped, then just select, still go back to the Arrange Group and then work with this group option. Click there. This time round the group option is inactive. Reason, these shapes are already grouped. What you can only do is to ungroup them to make them individual objects. Click. Now if I click, you can see what has happened. I'll click inside. Now I will select only one, and if I try to move, it will move as an individual object. The reason is they are no longer grouped. So I will take it back and place it there. So that is how you can do the grouping. Then let's look at another way to do the grouping. I've selected this, then let me press the control key. I go to the next shape, click to select it, and I release the control key. This time round I will not select the text boxes, and I see whether really these text boxes will remain there when we try to move these shapes to another point. So after to group these objects without using this option, you will simply right click. When you right click, you move your pointer where you see group. Then you work with this group option. But you can still see this option for regroup. This option for regroup means that these objects have been previously grouped. So do you want to regroup them? You have to make choice. For us, we want to group only these two. So we shall say group and say group. So we have only two shapes that are grouped here. We have over 1 and we have over 2. But these text boxes are not part. So let's confirm by moving the shape. I'll click, hold and try to move this shape to another point. So when you move, you can see that these text boxes will remain there because we never added them to the group. We never selected them and then grouped them together with these two ovals. So that is how you can do the grouping. If you want also the text in the shapes to be treated as part of that one object. Ungrouping, you can still right click and go to group and you'll find the option for ungrouping. Click and you'll have these objects or these shapes now treated as individual objects. Let's assume we want to add more other shapes. So to add more other shapes, you just go to format still. Since we're already on the format, we go to the insert shapes. We don't need to go to the home tab or to the insert tab to do that. We already have that provision under the format tab. So I will click. Then I come and draw my shape. I will adjust my shape the way I want. So here I have my shape. But unfortunately, we can see that this shape again is covering the parts of these others. Just like we saw, we have to remove the fill color from this shape so that we have the visibility of all the shapes that we have in our slide. So to do that, select that shape, go to format tab, then work with the shape fill and then say no fill. Click. You have it there. So from here, you want to add text, add the text box. Come and draw. Put that text you want. If you see the text is behaving like this, you can still try to move. Be creative now at this point. Adjust the shape the way you want. You can do anything you want now. The creativity remains on your side. If it means adjusting the different shapes that you have in your presentation or in your slide, you can do so. And that is what I'm trying to do. So that I create space for this text box that I've inserted in this area. So you can see what I'm doing. Then now I click inside and add that text that I want to add. Likewise to here, we are going to insert the text box. I don't need to go to the format tab because I have the drawing group. And from the drawing group, I will click on this button for text box. Click, go in the shape, draw. After drawing, put the information you have. If it behaves like that, we now know what to do. You can adjust the text box or adjust the shape. Get the text box, draw it, put that information. Get the text box, draw and put that information you want. So you have inserted a new shape. You have added text in all the points that you wanted. And that's how you can do it. So you can still group all these objects the way you want. Before we can group, we have what we call this shape outline. We can decide to change the color here, just like we said. Click and then try to give it that color you like, and it will appear there. Now grouping, I'm going to group all the objects. So after grouping, we copy and put in a different slide. That is possible. Since this one is already selected, we said we press on the Control key. Then I go to the next shape. I want to include my text boxes. I select that. I want to include. I select. So long as you see your pointer changing to that shape, just go ahead and make the selection. If you click outside, then you will need to reselect all the shapes again. So you have to be very careful. I'm done with making my selection. So now I will group. I just want to use the easiest way. So I go to Format tab. Then group and say group all. And they are all grouped. Now let's copy and put this object to another slide. Copy. Go to this slide. I will delete these placeholders. Then I right click and paste. And here we have our object pasted there. There are a lot of other things you can do while you're on the Format tab. You can try to change the alignment of the object that you have in your slide. For instance, you can align your object to the left. If you click to the left, you see where the objects will go. You can align to the center of the slide. You can see where it will go. You can put this object to the right. You can also decide to put it at the top. And I can say I want this object to be at the middle of this slide. So everything is possible so long as you have grouped this object. I just encourage you to find out other items or options that I have not discussed with you. Thank you for attending this workshop. I welcome your feedbacks and inputs. Thank you very much. We can turn on our microphone for that session.